Blooket was another new technology that we tried out in my second grade class. My students are familiar with Kahoot, and so I thought looking into something like Blooket would give them another option with a similar experience to review material primarily. My goal was to engage students in not only a hosted activity, but also a solo activity to see if this could be an alternative to a whole group Kahoot, and maybe a fun way for me to check a skill or content knowledge at their own pace if I use the solo option. My intended audience at this point is my second graders, but I also think after playing a little bit that this program could be a great tool for a parent meeting or to begin an in-service that maybe gets people a little more engaged. So the ISTE leadership standards I chose were Empowering Leader 3.2E, which is to develop learning assessments that provide personalized, actionable view of student progress in real time. With both learning options on this site, teachers can look back and see how individual students perform and also assess their understanding of the content. And also Systems Designer 3.4B ensure that resources for supporting the effective use of technology for learning are sufficient and scalable to meet future demand. I think finding alternatives that are similar in nature to current programs helps keep students engaged not only in my classroom, but then they aren't doing the same games in every other classroom they go to. And so we will be more effective even building wide if we have maybe a bank of activities to select from. So once I created my free account, I did search for two activities, and right here into my favorites, I just favorited activities that someone already made. We tried this Earth Day one as a whole group activity, and we tried this syllable one as a solo activity. So in my history, well, in my homework here, you can see this syllable one that was opened. And when I click on it, it will show how many correct options I was getting. And I can look down at the leaderboard and see who completed the task because they closed out or how far students were working. I was roaming the entire time to see how they were answering questions. And what they had to do was um, look at the correct way to separate a word into syllables. It did have an immersive reader, which means they could hear those syllable divisions, which was very helpful to some students. Then they were instructed to finish the activity and go on to their spelling test. So this worked really great as a solo activity. On my whole group activity, if I go to history, this one we tried the fishing game. And it was like mayhem going on in the classroom. Students were yelling out, I caught a fish, I caught a shark, I caught a waffle, get out of my way, puffer fish. And just the engagement was huge. But all the while, every time they cast their fish and reeled it out, they got a question that they didn't get the points for unless they answered it correctly. So 7 minutes, and then it shut off and it gave us a leaderboard. And you can see I was getting a lot of really good answers as they went. There was a lot of speed and crazy going on here, but you can actually see this scoring isn't too bad either. I do think that with the immersive reader function, this is something that can be used without having someone have to stand over the shoulder or without having to partner up for struggling readers. And I'm excited to try out other games. It's as simple as clicking on the Discover and typing in what you want, just like it would be on other sites like this.